What's up, guys? We got a 2007 Acura MDX on the lift. Did front brake pads on this vehicle. Now we're gonna do the rear brake pads and rotors. So we did the front brakes and rotors up there. So what we're gonna do is basically we got some good electric coated rotors and brake pads. We're gonna remove this 12 and there's two 17 millimeters, and we should be able to remove everything. We're gonna remove these two bolts right here. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do everything, and also take off this rubber grommet here. So the tools we need is a 12 millimeter wrench, 17 millimeter, a wire brush. We need some greasing. This is a regular high temp brake grease. We got silicone grease. We got if you got a flathead, Phillips head screwdriver or a punch driver, either or. If you got a Phillips head screwdriver, that's great. I'm gonna show you guys how to use that instead of this C-clamp or a compressed tool such as this. We got some parts cleaner, get a rag, and a hammer. Got a hammer on the floor. So let's start this job. Okay, to start off, we're gonna remove the 12 millimeter right here. So if you're looking at it from that way, it's counterclockwise, meaning going down if you're right in front of it, and this bolt will easily come off just like that. Put that baby to the side. After that, your caliper should just lift up. If you need to pry it with the flathead screwdriver, go ahead, do it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift this baby up. We're gonna push this out of the slider pin. This rubber boot will eventually come off. Don't worry about it. A little bit of force on the brake line is not gonna damage it. Take off your brake pad. These are crazy looking hard brake pads. Put these babies to the side. Bada bing, bada boom. While you at it, grab your hardware kit. Just yank it off. If you need to use a screwdriver, do so. Both of these will come right off. Throw them out. Don't need them. We got new ones without brake pads. So 17 millimeter right in the back. It's a 17 millimeter right here. There's two of them, 1 and 2. And same thing going down. Okay, let's loosen them both before we go take them out completely. There you go. And your bracket here should start to move, wiggle. Shebang. Okay, so should be able to take it off by hand now. Okay, nope, I guess nope. The bottom one is trouble here. It's always great to do it yourself. Follow the instructions. And let me see if the camera is recording. Yep. Follow the instructions. You should be able to get it done yourself. No need to worry about or paying $800 at the dealer or your mechanic. That's not gonna do it properly and destroy everything for you. An $800 job turned into $1,600 because he just went crazy. Anyway, this bolt is sitting against that linkage. That's fine. We're gonna let it sit there. So all we got it off. What you want to do is take your wire brush, clean up the surface right underneath where the hardware is gonna sit. Use a mask because this thing is dusty. Brake dust is no good. Use a cleaner, brake cleaner, parts cleaner. Spray that on. Same thing here. That's done. Okay, our bracket is out of the way. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna come around, and I know you guys want it. Okay, to take off these two little screws without punch. To use a punch, you put this on and you hammer it, bam, bam. But what you want to do is you want to go in the back. You want to bang. And no punch, flathead screwdriver. You see that? You do the same thing. If you do it, if you take off this completely and do it, the disc will move. It will vibrate the opposite side. Give it good bangs. Whoops. You should be able to take both of these without a punch driver, just a flathead screwdriver. That's all you need here. Okay. Don't forget to take off this grommet. All you do is you get a flathead screwdriver. I don't have a flathead screwdriver, which I didn't bring. So this rotor sometimes can get jammed because you do have e-brake shoes inside. So bang, bang, bang a little bit here, but these are pretty free played out. And you want to push that grommet out of there, okay? Get that baby off. We'll put that baby in at the end. Next step, you see the shoes? Take a look at the shoes. These shoes are looking good. I don't think this is my cousin's car, my boy's car, whatever you want to call him. He barely uses the car. They don't even use the e-brake. But if they're cracked, they look funny. Okay, that's it. Also, you can adjust these 1, 2, 3 clicks, which I'm gonna do. 1, 2 clicks, and all you do is get a flathead screwdriver, and you just turn the little guy right here. 1, 2. I'll just leave it at 2 clicks. There you go. I don't want to do more than that. Sometimes you don't even have to touch it. Try it on the disc first, because the new disc is not worn out, so it'll be a little smaller, tighter fit. Anyways, make sure you clean this hub off with a wire brush. The hub got to be nice and clean. This car looks pretty clean, but still buff it down a bit. And take your parts cleaner, shebang, give it a few moments, and then we're gonna come and put greasing on this. But right now, let's go on to our brake pads. Okay, so we got electric coated rotors. That's the part number on the rear. I already opened the box up so you guys can see. It comes in this blue bag. Let's remove that blue bag. Also already ripped it. It's pre-ripped, so that way I don't have to rip anything. I even took out the brake pads, and this is what we use in the Evolutions. The part number for the rear, I got everything at the front on the video, so just search that up. Put in the Acura MDX 2007 front brakes and rotors, RB the mechanic, you will find it. Anyways, take your brake cleaner. You do need to clean the oil off these babies. The reason is because it has oil all over it to prevent this rotor from getting rusted. You don't need to clean this surface out. That's fine. You can leave that alone. But in the back, you need to clean the inside where the drums, the e-brakes shoes are gonna touch. So this is the inside. So make sure you wipe that off, and the outside, outer inner layer. So both of these got to be cleaned out really well. Bada bing, bada boom, ready to go onto the car. So what we need to do next is take some of this good old high temp brake grease, put it around this hub, all around, just a tiny bit. You don't want to smirk too much on it because it's gonna compress and squeeze out anyway. Anyways, that's done. Let's take out the disc. So if you touch the disc and you get grease on it, you can always clean it off. And you take this, make sure you line the 2 holes with these overlooking holes here, and put the 2 screws in. 1, and this screw, like I always say, it's nothing serious. If you have to drill it out, if they broke, nothing you need to go crazy with. All they do is hold the rotor in place for you. And we touch the disc a bit. I have grease on my fingers. Spread this out. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna come down on this angle. Don't worry, we still gotta put the little grommet. No worries. So the next step here is inside your brake pad box. You're gonna have a hardware. Small little bag. It's gonna have these little guys. So what you do is you take your bracket. This is your bracket. Remember, we cleaned it. Now we need to put a little bit of greasing right here, not a lot, because it's gonna squeeze out. And over here. That way, nothing is metal to metal. Okay, so they all look same. The hardware, all 4 pieces look the same to me. And this is they're only gonna fit in the correct spot. So make sure you center them out and they will squeeze right in, just like that. And make sure they're straight. Same thing. Alright, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take the other side, stick it in. Usually you can take something and tap. Okay, that's a motorcycle noise, no problem. Anyways, that's that. What you want to do next is take a little bit more greasing. so that way once the brake pad sits here, there's grease on it, so it doesn't sit metal to metal. Okay, that's that. Now what we need to do here is we need to take we have one in here, the 17 millimeters, put them on, grab the threads, turn as much as you can, and let me grab the second one right here. So this is 17 millimeter. Same process. I'm gonna turn this away because I did get a little bit of smudge of a grease on this disc. That way it doesn't grip the brake pad doesn't grip the area. Okay, there you go. And what we're gonna do here is I'm turning both at the same time. One is still able to turn by hand. I'm gonna tighten these bolts up really well, and then we will put the brake pads in. We will compress the piston on the caliper, and the job will be all done. It's a pretty long bolt. One. That's two. Tighten really well. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Nice and tight. Double check your work, always. Always double check your work. And I got my tool stuck here. There you go. So once you're done, then turn it, because that's twice I had to turn. The greasing got on it. And time for us to put the brake pads in. So got the brake pads, but there's a piece that's gonna be in the bag that looks something like this. Take that. You see the brake pads? When the rotor turns in the bottom, that's where you want this at. On the inner brake pad in the bottom, you take this guy. You cannot put it this way, okay? It's gonna hit the rotor, so it's gotta be facing this long edge. Gotta be facing on the outward of the brake pad. This clip is a little tough to put on, but make sure you get it. If you forget, no worries. You're just not gonna have that sensor that's gonna give you a warning. Make sure it's at the correct spot. I got a bit off, so all I need to do is tap it down a bit. There you go. So it's gotta sit onto that little square right through the notch. Anyway, on the bottom, your brake pads, like I always say, your brake pads need to go in nice and easy. If your brake pads don't go in nice and easy and you have to hit it and bang it in there, that means you need to file here and here, okay? So check this out. Try them on first before you even put greasing and everything on it, because once you got grease on it, you don't want to file. You're gonna have a big mess. So you see that? That's how they should be, nice and easy to get them in and out. Greasing here on the outer edge of the brake pad. Same thing here. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is let's take off this slider pin out of that boot. I went and got me a rag. Let's clean this off, because once I bring my camera up, I don't want to come back down. Now is the time. You want to take the silicone grease and grease up both of the pins. I'm going to do one at a time. Try not to put nothing on the edge, because it won't compress once it goes in there. And stick this back in. The rubber boot should grip it. Now it's time for us to move up and look at that caliper, and we're going to compress that caliper. Okay, so with this caliper, what you want to do is, since we was cleaning things and greasing things, let's take off this greasing right here. Make sure your caliper is nice and clean, and just wipe it down with a rag. If you need to buff it a bit, just the edge of it, so there's no like uneven surface. So what you want to do is you want to put your older brake pad here, okay? This thing is not sitting stable for me, so I can show you guys. You know what? Let's move back. Let's bring our light right here. That's even better. So put a brake pad and compress it. You could use a C-clamp or you could use a tool such as this. Okay, since my tool has this big circle, so it sits perfectly on that caliper, and I don't need to use a brake pad, and this thing flushes it out for me. Next step, I do want to put a little bit of greasing on this slider pin, same silicone grease that we used on the other pin, all around, nothing on the edge. Anyways, this job is pretty much to the end. You're gonna take your caliper, make sure your wiring, your harness, your brake line is not twirled up, nice and straight. Get that slider pin in, slide it, make sure the boot grabs it. You're gonna have to push in on this slider pin, turn it so it's nice and flush. You take your 12 millimeter, put that baby on, and you take your 12 millimeter. If you want to torque it, do so. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Mechanic always have a good arm, so don't be argumentative about that. Anyways, done deal. Thank you for watching. Double check all your bolts, make sure everything's in there. Brake pads, I've seen brake pads backward, make sure you don't do none of that. So one little thing left. What I'm gonna do here is I am gonna get that grommet out. Okay, so don't forget to put this little grommet right here. So all you do is stick that in. Use something like a flathead screwdriver. Don't poke it in there because it will go inside and fall inside. So go easy on it. It shouldn't sit nice and flush. Bada bing, bada boom. Acura MDX.